In this video, we will show you how to replace your water pump inlet tube on this Dodge Ram. This will be mounted in the engine compartment directly to your water pump along the front of the engine. Let's get into it. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. Make your way over to the radiator cap, located on the passenger side of the radiator. We'll be pressing this down, turning it counterclockwise, and lifting it up and away from our face. Give the cap a quick inspection, replace it as necessary. We'll set that aside. Once you've opened up the radiator cap, make your way over towards the driver's side bottom corner of the radiator. We're feeling for the drain plug. You want to make sure you have a gloved hand, and of course have a collection bucket under this area. We'll turn this counterclockwise. As we're turning it counterclockwise, you're going to want to pull it rearward. You might have to use some pliers. There we go. Got a little bit of coolant coming out of this now. Now we can let the coolant drain. Now that we've drained the cooling system, let's close our drain. There we go. Make sure that's nice and tight. Now that we have the coolant drained, let's make our way right up along here. This is where the coolant inlet tube is located. We'll be removing the hose from the tube. To do that, squeeze this clamp, slide it up a little bit, and then we can remove the hose from the inlet tube. Use some pliers for that. Take hold of that hose. Just try to give it a little twist to break it free. If it doesn't want to break free, you can use a hose pick. You want to be extremely careful not to damage the rubber hose though. Just make our way in between the tube and the hose to break this free. We don't want to use any penetrant here because we don't want to damage the hose, causing swelling. There we are. Keep in mind there could still be coolant located in this area. Once you have it off, just give it a quick squeeze. Make sure it is still soft and pliable and it's not torn, worn, or damaged in any way. We can set this hose aside. The next thing we'll do is loosen our 14mm headed bolt that holds the tube to the bracket. Once you have that loose, we can continue on by taking hold of the tube. We'll give it a little wiggle and slide it diagonally up and out of the water pump. There it is, friends. With that tube out of place, let's pay attention to the water pump. Commonly, you'll find that you have gasket maker around the area where the tube goes into it. You want to make sure that you remove all of that, clean up the area, give it an inspection, and then we can continue on with our installation. Use a scraper. We'll give it a quick wipe with a rag. All right, let's get ready for installation of our brand new inlet tube. You'll find on the area that goes down into the water pump, you have a small O-ring that makes its way all the way around the tube. As you remember, when you were removing the original, there was some gasket maker making their way around. So I'll be applying a thin bead all the way around this, and then we can continue on with our installation. Let's take this and slide it into place, aligning our mounting bolt. Once you have it aligned, just go ahead and press it right down in there as far as possible. We'll give it a couple taps with a rubber mallet. Tighten the 14mm headed mounting bolt. Now that it's snug, let's just make sure it's nice and tight. Now we can attach our hose. Slide that on there as far as you can. Put the clamp in its original position. Confirm that the hose is secured properly to the tube. Now the next thing we're going to do is fill the cooling system. There's a couple different ways that you'd want to do this. One would be with a funnel. You can go ahead and put the adapter right along the top here. Install the funnel on there, and then continue adding coolant. Once it starts burping, what you would want to do is start up the vehicle and continue watching the fluid level. We want to try to burp out all the air bubbles that are in the system. Once all the air stopped coming out, you can use your little plunger here. We'll plunge that off and then remove this and install the cap. For me personally, I'm going to be using a vacuum system. I'll hook it up on here. It's going to draw a vacuum in the cooling system, and then I'll draw the coolant directly in and avoid any air bubbles. Now for this tool in particular, it's great because as I'm creating suction, this needle will make its way all the way up into the green. And what we want to do is watch and make sure that it does not drop into the yellow or worse, into the red. If it does, that means that there's a leak and you need to tighten one of your hoses. Put this on here. When you're using a tool like this, it's a good idea just to give it a second and watch that needle. Make sure you don't get needle drop. And now we can start filling the cooling system. This is drawing the coolant directly through the hoses into the radiator and the rest of the cooling system. Now, if you're using a tool like I just used, it's still a good idea to use a funnel. The reason why is because we're going to be running the vehicle and we want to allow any air bubbles to make their way up and into the funnel, and then the fluid that's in the funnel down into the cooling system. Now, once you're sure that it's nice and full, we'll continue on with that radiator cap. Put it on there, turn it all the way to the right until it's nice and tight. Double check it. Once you've done that, continue on to checking your coolant reservoir. That's just along the passenger side of the coolant fan shroud. Make sure it's up to par. If it needs to be added to, just go ahead and lift up on this yellow cap, add as much as needed, and then close it up good and tight. Okay friends, we showed you how to install the coolant inlet tube on your vehicle. At this point, double check to make sure you don't have any leaks. Run the vehicle till it's good and warm and there's plenty of heat coming out of the vents. After that, take it for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.